All right, welcome back, YouTube. How is everyone? We're going to do an update today on some of the price action that we've seen, and I'm also going to take a few questions as well after I go over the charts here. So, as usual, let me know if you can hear me, and then we'll get started. So now I'll post it in the chat as well. I just don't want any gap in communication here. And yes, this is the okay, perfect. Okay, so and yes, what you're looking at right now is the much the overall measurement that we're going to use for Dogecoin and the shorts that we've seen historically and recently. And technically speaking, we have seen a sell-off in the market, which is going to be normal after you have some runs and people start to take profits because we have not, the macros have not resolved themselves. So they're technically speaking, and even with the inverted yield curve, that's showing that most investors are having a short-term look on the market, which is why typically when I do chart action and stuff, I'll say that this is bullish short-term because the macros haven't resolved themselves. And the other key point that I made from my last video is a lot of the time we don't see Dogecoin's true potential when we have a run in the market, whether that's a bull run cycle or simply just a pump by the market overall. Technically speaking, a rising tide raises all boats. And technically, for the last few months, we haven't seen an actual run from Dogecoin, typically because shorts will come in and kind of suppress the price action. And so, I think it was like last week, I said that as of right now, the shorts were not engaging with Dogecoin. So, we're going to see more of a natural price reaction from Doge. And that's technically what we had over the last few weeks, or over the last week, really. And I do want to point out here this area that I have circled is when we saw two really big green candles that spiked. These are shorts, by the way. This isn't Dogecoin price action. These are shorts. So we have two positions here where shorts got really aggressive with Dogecoin, pretty much on the 6th, the 5th and the 6th. And this will obviously start to get that downward momentum, that downward pressure as far as on Dogecoin, because you'll see, and even though I see in the comments, I made a post on Twitter and on my community section here, and I was saying wherever the Dogecoin is dead, people are at. They're like, oh, it'll be down, and then they'll say, oh, see, look, it's down and stuff like that. And I just wanted to stress the point that this isn't organic movement that we're seeing. This is the market did sell off, however, but the breakdowns and the pressure that we're seeing to kill momentum and the reasonings behind we have these downward trends and stuff like that isn't necessarily the retail selling off. This isn't necessarily the market losing interest in the coin. So this is more so just to kill the momentum, because when you have coins like Doge or really just any stock, momentum getting behind the coin and it rallying and it hit, shooting past these historic moving averages and resetting trends and stuff like that. Once the ball gets rolling, they're going to have to take much, much more aggressive positions. Thus, these huge candles and stuff we've seen in the past and last year, just trying to get control of the coin here to kill the momentum. So that's technically what we've seen here. And I do want to switch over to Doge to show you where exactly strategically where we got the breakdowns at, so that you can see. That's not the one I'm looking for. You can see the price points, because we pretty much, I'm going to find, where's my chart? I'm going to find the position here that we pretty much got rejected off of the 200-day moving average on the 1-year chart. These candles here, let's see. I'm going to take some questions in a moment, but I just wanted to pinpoint some of the price action that we've seen. Is it Coinbase? Whatever this one to do. And I wanted to pinpoint some of the price action that we can see. So hopefully you can see this. This is pretty much the last big rejection. So this red line here is our 200-day moving average. So we got the rejection off of the 200-day moving average. This is one of the things I said that I'm also very, not weary, but I prefer it better when we have like the little stair-step approach when we're building bullish movement, because when we have these large gap ups, technically that gap gets filled. And we had this gap up here to the 200-day moving average, which was rejected. And then we had the gap down again to pretty much back down roughly to our 72-day moving average, which is this purple line here. And we got some green candles as well because the 21-day moving average has come up and it's crossing the 72-day moving average, which is really great. That's really bullish, actually. And we got some green candles forming here. So technically speaking, short term, it looks like we're getting ready to go for a retest on the 200. But this is going to be some of the key marks that we're going to have to look for in the short term, because the marker that we were looking for to fill was like around like the 17.3 before we have that run up to 22 cents. And we technically got it, but we got rejected right off of the mark. So because the candle, if you look here, this is the pretty much the end of this trough here. The last time we touched the 72-day moving average was February 7th. And we come up here and we look as to where that wick ends. It's really at the top of the candle here that we got a day ago. And the wick that we got rejected off of is the 200-day moving average, which is the red line. So we technically hit the mark that we needed to, but we did not surpass it. We got rejected off of it. So, but we are bouncing off of the 72 21-day moving average as they cross. So it looks like we're positioning ourselves to go for a retest. This is short-term movement, obviously, but we're positioning ourselves to go for a retest. Because if we're able to break above this, we're going to have to keep an eye on the short positions. But technically speaking, if we are able to break above the 17.3 range, historically we have that run up to 22 cents. And also historically, that's where shorts get really, really aggressive. That's these two spikes that you see here. These are both were really aggressive by shorts. And of course, we see here as we're getting ready to make that run, we saw the shorts, as you saw earlier in the video, we saw the shorts again come in and get more aggressive here. So that's something we're gonna have to watch for short-term price-wise. But as of right now, we are doing really great when we are bouncing off of the 72 21-day moving average, looking for a retest, and we are hitting the marks that we need to. So technically speaking, this 17.3, roughly right where we got rejected, that's the last point of like resistance until technically we have that big run up to 22. And then of course, we'll see if we're going to have to battle shorts at that point, or if we're going to have enough momentum to carry us over. And just to clarify, I clarified on Twitter, but I want to clarify in this video as well. When I said that we, don't be panicked about Doge and stuff like that, because ultimately what we're looking for is to see what was Dogecoin's price movement if it weren't to be interfered with like shorts and, these negative catalysts and stuff like that. What does Doge look like on a free market, just roaming based off of supply and demand? And we were able to get a glimpse of that off of this last run. And to me, that really just indicates that Dogecoin in itself is undervalued. It's undervalued, because we don't have the Dogecoin resting at its true equilibrium. We have the people that come in and we say, okay, well, they're going to kill momentum, or they simply just hate the coin for whatever reason. And Dogecoin is not allowed to pretty much move as fluid as it would without all these interferences. So this technically can indicate that Doge is consolidating lower than it would have. And I've charted Doge for pretty much like over a year now. And historically, before we had this breakdown, Doge typically likes to rest at around like 23 to 25 cents. And maybe that is the equilibrium that Doge would rest at if the shorts didn't come in. Who knows? Because as a coincidence, they start really aggressively shorting at 22 cents. That's where most of the last two times we were in the 20s, that's where we got rejected from. So right below that average. But this is something that we're going to have to deal with here in the short term. So, but as far as for price movement, whether or not Dogecoin is dead or the movement behind the community and stuff like that, Doge is fine. It's just really, really being manipulated here in the short term. And we were able to get a glimpse of that on the short chart when shorts kind of like receded and Dogecoin was able to move with the market how it wanted to move. So when you see things like, oh, Doge is at 12 cents or 13 cents and the market's going up, what's wrong with Doge? Now, it's not necessarily wrong with Doge. Like, make sure you're checking the short charts and stuff like that, because 9 times out of 10, when you see the breakdown or the sell-off in Doge, you're going to see, if you go to the short chart, you're going to see, ironically, there's a spike in shorts. And then you see the price go the opposite direction. When there's no spikes in shorts, or there's red candles, or it's trending sideways, you're going to get much, much greater reaction from Dogecoin. And I see some of you saying that, can it be shorted forever? Or if this is, them picking on Doge. In the stock market, this happens too. So Doge would be something considered like a penny stock in the stock market. Penny stocks are always, well, I won't say always, penny stocks are usually heavily manipulated. Why? Because they're cheap. Low market cap, stuff like that. People with a lot of money are able to come in and buy a lot of it and take control of the short-term price movement relatively quickly. So they'll do things like this to trigger pump and dumps, to just generate cash, to put into plays that they actually want to be long in. So, I'm not saying that Doge is a penny stock, but technically, if you convert it to the actual stock market, this is not unusual price action that you see until you start getting like higher price points where it's not as attractive for people to come in and manipulate the stock, or you just need a lot more money. So that's why when you see a lot of companies that when their stock either crashes for whatever reason, or they're threatening to get delisted and have to go to OTC, you'll see them do all these reverse stock splits to take their stock from 50 cents to $20. So now you're not going to be able to come in and buy 100,000 shares, because now it's $20. So you're going to need a lot more money. So technically speaking, people that are pumping and dumping or manipulating the coin, they're going to move on to something else that's low market cap. So what we're seeing here with Doge is not necessarily abnormal when it comes down to trading and taking profits, and often just pretty much call it manipulation in the market. It's not something that's unique. It technically happens all the time. So, but it's just something that, again, it's short-term movement, but it's just something that it's normal in the market to happen to low coins that have low price points. So overall, can it be shorted forever? Technically speaking, in the market, yes. It's not necessarily saying it can kill the momentum forever, because obviously as you build catalysts and utility and stuff like that, the coin will naturally appreciate. And again, you'll get to that point where they'll have other coins that they'll be more interested in, or that they'll be more easily to able to take control of. Because as of right now, it's only because they would have to take a lot more effort to short the coin if there was greater momentum behind it moving. So what they're doing now is being aggressive enough early on, because they don't want the coin to gather that momentum. They're trying to short it pretty much early on to kill that momentum before it starts. Because once you start saying, let's say Dogecoin goes from, let's say we hit like 25 cents or something like that, and you start hitting headlines like, oh, Doge is back and stuff like that. They don't want that, because at that point you have FOMO and people running into the market, and then they're gonna have to spend a lot more money to try and get the coin under control. So that's really all they're doing right now, is just being proactive, a little proactive to get control of the coin. So let me go back. I know you guys have been asking some questions. Let's see. So when do you think we can see that 20 cent? So pretty much we have to break above the point where we got rejected on, which is around like that 17.3 range, a little over 17 cents. Because we pretty much got rejected off of our 200-day moving average. That's that red line you see on the chart. But after that point, technically speaking, historically, we're going to have that run up to 22 cents. So we've seen shorts try and pretty much kill it from breaking past that point. So this is something, as of right now, we have some green candles. We're bouncing, which is great, off of our 72, our 21. So we're positioned to go do a retest. So that's something we're gonna have to keep an eye on over the next few days. Is obviously the short positions, to see if they're gonna try and get it to break down further, or if we're gonna go up and retest. Because if we retest, then technically speaking, we have really big momentum after that point, and we should see 20 cents within like the next 24 or 40 hours. So after we break above that point, historically, we have really big momentum. And you can see that, you can see evidence of that on that big candle that we got from around like 13, 14 cents, that run up to 17. Once we break these points, if there's no resistance there, technically speaking, it's just a big green candle. So the thing we're gonna have to watch for is the shorts, just to see at what point they're gonna be aggressive in. What do you think about Ethereum Classic? Thank you, Ivan, for the super chat. No, I like Ethereum Classic. I think that for as Ethereum appreciates, as the market appreciates, Ethereum Classic is just going to be a way for people who can't afford Ethereum just to have exposure to the coin in a form. So when you have these coins that are really a part of the initial program, or just like improvements and stuff like that, that you will have the exposure where you can possibly get some trending gains here with the market direction. So I don't have anything against Ethereum Classic. I think that as these coins get more expensive, people will start trading some pretty much like some subsidies of them. I think at some point, even with Bitcoin, where everybody's going to be trading Satoshis at some point, um, because technically speaking, without fractionals, like if that wasn't a thing, we'd already be priced out for the most part of a lot of coins. Like most people wouldn't be able to afford whole coins. So the fact that we're able to buy fractionals is the only reason that we're still seeing heavy retail involvement with a lot of these coins. So I think Ethereum Classic is kind of like I don't want to call it a fractional, but it's a way that you can just have exposure to the original coin's price movement. So I don't have anything against it. Let's see, once we get above 0.35, 0.45, I think we could possibly see all-time highs. I believe Dogecoin and Pluto. Yeah, that is, yeah, I have to do like an analysis and pull back. But I think after 22, if we have after the 24, 25 range, I have to get the exact point at which we rest. Our next resistance is, I think, 33. And after that, I want to say 41. And then after that, yeah. So I want to say after it's 41, I want to say it's 0.41. And I'm just going off of memory, don't quote me. But I want to say after 0.41, we got massive, massive green candles. So that's going to be, yeah, there's no telling. That's just depending on momentum and the reasons why we're up that high, or this utility, or some big announcement or something. But yeah, I want to say after that, it's off to the races. But historically, I want to say it's 25, 33, and 41. So I'm just going off memory there, but I'm pretty sure those are the points of resistance going up. Appreciate the TA. Thank you. I appreciate you. David Mitchell and Michael Whitman both do extremely excellent TA on crypto. I never miss David's YouTube videos. Thank you. I appreciate you. Then shorts, though. Yeah, the shorts. Yeah, they're back. They're back. I just wanted to put this out because I didn't want people to think that, oh, something crazy is going on or something. No, it's not a coincidence. They are pretty much trying to get in front of the momentum here. But Doge is doing really, really good. Really good. So you're going to watch Elon Musk Cyber Rodeo, Giga Texas tonight in about 2 hours, David. I think I heard something about that. I wasn't. I may. If not, I may do like a rerun or something like that. I may. Can we hit the like button? It's great info. Yes, please. If you haven't yet, definitely hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate all of you. Let's see. Very possible Apple will announce they'll accept crypto soon at Bitcoin conference. This will also really move the market. Mexico likely to accept Bitcoin as legal tender too. Lots to come. Yeah, I think a lot of the leading companies, Apple certainly being at the forefront, are going to, start making these adaptations. Apple is very, very forward thinking. So something along the lines of Apple stepping into the crypto space, or them being able to, if we get like an Apple partnership, that'll just be crazy. But I definitely don't doubt Apple being one of the first of its kind, especially like these really, really big companies to step into the crypto. That's, Apple being an innovator. I definitely can see that transition happening relatively sooner than later. I have to cash out some dollars to buy my house in Belize. Hey, I understand. Hey, you gotta do what's best for you, man. Hello. How are you? Why are shorts so hell bent on killing Doge momentum, though? Sorry, just tuned in. No, so we gotta understand what Dogecoin is. Dogecoin, technically, so when you have institutions and when you have, even just the stock market, you're going to have what you would call I don't want to say the insiders, but you'll have the favorite, right? You'll have the ones that are backed by institutions where the money is supposed to go. In the stock market, you're going to look at the heavy hitters like on the S&P. That's where if you're investing in funds and stuff like that, that's where they don't have to worry about raising capital. The market has already held them up. And don't get me wrong, it's supported by retail too as well, but the market has held them up as kind of like the chosen ones, so that if you are putting in funds, indexes, whatever, these companies are going to receive some of that capital. So in case you're wondering, where I'm talking about Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, companies like that, they're going to dominate that sector. In crypto, that's Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the chosen one. It's the institutional favorite. It's the ones that the institutions hold. And Doge is not technically supposed to be here. Dogecoin is literally like you can call it the people's choice, right? And these institutions are like, okay, Doge, yes, it has faster transaction, lower transaction fees, stuff like that. We cannot allow. Speaking for them, we cannot allow Doge to pretty much go mainstream with these transactions and stuff like that. It's going to take away from what we're trying to do. This isn't Dogecoin wasn't a part of the plan. So technically speaking, they can't allow Dogecoin to have normal price movement because it'll just end up attracting more people. So what they have to do is say, okay, this is a meme coin, and make sure that it has meme coin type charting, very extreme volatility, spikes, downward trends, massive sell-offs, looks like pump and dumps and stuff like that. And then you do a little more research and you see that, okay, well, this isn't organic movement. So this isn't obviously the people doing this. So, who are the players that be who, want to destroy Dogecoin? So, you just kind of have to, that's how I look at it. I always ask, and we've also had a number of very famous, I won't say their names here, but if you do some quick Google searches, you'll find out who they are. We have a number of very famous people, famous investors and business acumen who publicly said that they're going to short Dogecoin or that they don't like the coin. And you have to take all this into kind of like into factors that when you have the people's choice, who is technically, if it catches momentum, it can be a direct threat to what you've already, chosen, what the institutions have already chosen. You kind of, just stomp out the competition. So I think that is pretty much what's going on with coins like Dogecoin. So it's just something that when you see price movement, sometimes you can't always take things as face value. You're going to have to ask, okay, why? Why is this happening? What's the motivation behind this? And kind of dig a little deeper. And then you'll see, a pattern here that will kind of expose you to a broader truth. Because sometimes it's not all about the price action. Sometimes you have to look at the motivation and the psychology behind it. Let's see. With the recession soon to come, will that affect crypto? If so, how? Yeah, it can. You put Barry in the chat. I didn't say the name. But yeah, with the recession soon to come, will that affect crypto? Yeah, more than likely, we'll see institutions and stuff like that start to liquidate the market, and we may be already seeing signs of that now. Is when they are tending to looking at their short term versus long term. What they'll say is, okay, we need as much cash as possible in we're approaching the short term so that we can invest better in the long term. So what you'll see is in the market, I'm not aiming this at Dogecoin, but what you'll see overall in the market is you'll start seeing a bunch of these like pump and dumps, what we're seeing now, like a lot of the markets rallying and massive amounts of money coming into the market. New investors come in because they're like, oh my God, the FOMO. Because this is why I say don't buy on bull runs, always buy a little, have your price targets and stuff like that. When it's coming down, you have the bigger spreads, buy. But most people, psychologically speaking, the market will pump and they'll say, oh my God, this is it. Now I'm going to buy. And then this is what they're hoping for to attract new money in, because they say, hey, look, we're going into a recession now. The Feds are going to kick up the interest rates. There's going to be a restriction on cash. We need to raise as much cash as possible. So they pump the markets. New money comes in because they think this is it. The market's going to take off. They pump the markets up even higher, and they pull them, pretty much rug pull them. And now they get to raise a bunch of cash. And so this is, it's something been repeated for years, but now that we have a lot more eyes on the market, people can become more acute to these types of strategies. But technically speaking, that's what happens, and we may not even see the end of it. The markets may very well pump again, and just say that, okay, this is a brief sell-off, which it is. People that are able to trade and who had their options and stuff like that, yeah, they're going to make money right now, and the market will consolidate, but they may pump the market again and have just attract that cycle again, and then have another sell-off. So that way they're making money, even while still holding the asset, still controlling the asset, and building up their cash reserves for the potential recession. Because the recession, when you have money, the recession is the best thing that can happen to you. These companies, even like Apple, Google, on these companies, and even whales, people with money, a recession is the best thing that can happen to you financially, especially if you have cash, because these companies that have $250 billion in cash reserves, when these lower cap companies and stuff like that, they start struggling, they're going to come in with all their money and start buying them up. This is literally what how they're going to set these new all-time highs when the market turns around, because they're going to go around and acquire all of these great companies who technically may have done nothing wrong, but they simply just don't have the cash to survive a downtrend, or just a restriction of money. So they're going to swoop in and start buying up these companies and at discounts. And when the market turns around, they're going to run to new all-time highs just because of productivity and the expansion of services and stuff that they're able to offer. It's it's a cycle. So technically speaking, the recession in the short term, as far as the markets and them pulling money out of the market, yeah, it can hurt crypto, but just understand that this is just them raising cash and them looking to pretty much just reinvest at the bottom. This is a cycle we've seen for about 100 years. It's not new. You just got to kind of be, have your ear to the ground with the markets. That's why when the yield curve inverted, that's why I made the announcement on Twitter and on Instagram, and on YouTube. I said we have roughly around 6 to 18 months before we have a recession. And now we have banks and stuff like that coming out and confirming that. So this is the time to be strategic with your entries. This is the time to save as much cash as possible, because this is going to be the groundwork for those. I don't want to be like a moon boy or anything, but this is the groundwork for some of those moonshots that are going to take place. You just got to be strategic with your entries. So I hope that answers your question. I'm tired of the manipulation of every market. Every week the Feds have something to say to crash the market. The SEC is a super joke as well. Yeah, they because technically they're pretty much bracing everybody for like the new CPI numbers and stuff that are going to come out, which are going to be horrible, and they want to be a little bit more aggressive with the inflation rate. With the interest rate hikes, which I said this for months. That 0.25% was just them being cautious, because they didn't want to necessarily rug pull the market. They got a lot of things in the macro going on, and they didn't want to shock the market necessarily. But as they ease us into this, they're going to be more comfortable saying that, okay, let's just be a little bit more aggressive, which can cause additional fear in the market, and break down some of those downward trends. Because technically, remember, it's not the Fed's job. They really don't care about mooning our stocks. That's their top two priorities are inflation rates and market participation, aka jobs. That's they don't necessarily want to rug pull the market, but that's not their reason for existence, is to make sure our stocks are always going up. That's not so they're taking care of their two top priority things right here, and they'll say, hey, look, job market's pretty strong. We can afford to be more aggressive here with these interest rates. So that's why I expected them to be more aggressive, and that's why I still believe we have the window open for further breakdowns in the market. That's why I always say that this is short-term movement. Basically, Dogecoin has some haters. Facts. Doge will survive, and most shitcoins will liquidate and consolidate on the top 10. Doge will survive and absorb the opportunity. That's a fact. That's a fact. Walmart needs to accept crypto to get the average consumer excited. Yeah. Walmart would be a really big move as well. Walmart for certainly be a big move as well. A massive utility. Cardano, baby. Yeah, I like Cardano as well. Absolutely. What's up, Big Pimp? What's up? Hey there, I'm a believer. Some of my friends aren't. They say it's a pyramid Ponzi scheme. How can I explain to them that it isn't? Um, I mean, a pyramid Ponzi scheme is technically when you are, because technically you're buying into an asset. Like the stock market in itself doesn't necessarily work the same way as a pyramid scheme because they're not necessarily taking new money. Like the only way for you to get paid is not based off of new people coming into the coin. Um, Technically in like a pyramid scheme, you'll have that people, their bonuses, all that kind of stuff like that, they're going to be tied to people buying into the coin. That's a point, that's a part of the evaluation. Here you also have the aspects of the actual cattle. Well, I guess in Dogecoin specifically, because I'm assuming this is what you're talking about. You have the aspect of the expansion of the coin, utility, and the catalyst of the coin as well. Those are all areas that can add value to the coin based off of the actual um, awareness of the coin and the expansion of the coin being used for its ideal purpose. So you can consider it that the same as like a company growing. It's not a matter of someone selling you something that's completely worthless that doesn't have any use case, and I can't get out um, or it can't appreciate unless you are buying it. Um, Crypto in general, I mean, there's an aspect of it that yes, there has to be, it's an exchange, buyers and sellers have to be present, but the value of the coin is not based solely on someone buying into the coin. You know, there are other factors at play. So that's the main difference between that crypto and a Ponzi scheme. And same thing with the stock market too. It's not just limited to crypto. See, Walmart, Amazon, of course, Tesla, absolutely. Salute D Mitchell. I'm D Mitchell as well, and I appreciate your existence. Thank you. What do you think the future effects on Doge will be due to boss Elon's purchase of Twitter? Oh, Elon is a racist now, says CNN. Really? Wow, I didn't know they said that. That's interesting. um, no, it's really hard to say. It really just depends on what he does. Like if he does some type of integration with Doge on Twitter, that'll be freaking phenomenal. I don't think anyone can predict what Elon's movements are going to be, but if he does do something, if there is some type of integration or involvement with Doge on Twitter, that'll be absolutely crazy. So I don't even know if I can. I just say that the results or the effects will be positive. I can say that. As far as for how much so, I don't know if that's something I can chart, but I know it will be absolutely crazy because you've seen how much Twitter pumped. Just off of the announcement. So, and again, that's one of the things that one of the major points that you have with the crypto is having leadership and vision and stuff like that. So when you have, one of the richest, well, the richest guy in the world, leading the charge on a crypto, it's really hard to say, what avenues he's going to take for involvement with the coin or expansions in the coin. So, I'll just say that the news or the effect will be positive. Elon being the biggest shareholder of Twitter, do you think it will help Doge? Yes, if he does some type of integration in there, I believe it will absolutely help Doge. New Bradford, Massachusetts here. Let's go Doge. Hello, hello. Massive, phenomenal effects. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I wanted to come out and address the shorts in the video and the short-term action and where we are on the charts. So that was the purpose of this video. I don't want to make it too long here because I know those long videos that are not strictly Q&A will kind of be like a turnoff for people. So with that, like the video, share it with a friend. Let me know in the comments if you found value, if you have any questions. I'll be on for the next hour or so going through them. And if you haven't yet, I welcome you to subscribe to the channel as well if you want to hear more from me. So with that, I will close. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. And until next time.